Hello, this is Father Michael Nasser here with this week's Midweek Reflection. And it's an interesting one because I think politics is still kind of on everybody's mind. Although we're all sick of the election, we know that. But this is a little beyond that. I was talking with some friends the other day, and one of them has a friend in Australia and a friend, I think, in the Netherlands, he said. Both had made the same comment to him that they found it very interesting that in America, people will say things like, I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat. We would take that as a normal thing. Why wouldn't people say that? And they said what was different was in their countries, no one says I am and name their parties. They say I vote. They would expect us to say I vote Republican or I vote Democrat or I tend to vote one or the other. And I thought about that. I thought that's a really important point because part of the problems we're having in our country this day with all kinds of divisions is when we say I am and then we put some kind of label on ourselves. Now, this is fine for all kinds of people, except for Christians. If you're a Christian, really, you're a Christian. You might vote Republican, you might vote Democrat, but you're a Christian. It defines you. Political parties don't define Christians, or at least they shouldn't. And we were talking, actually, there's a bunch of pastors, friends of mine, and we were saying how part of the problem we're having in churches these days are people defining themselves not by their faith, but by their political party or political philosophy. So I know we say it, and it's just, I know people say, well, it's just the way we talk, but I think it's a little more than that. And I think if we're going to get to a place where we as individual Christians and the church as a whole has the impact that we are called to be in this world, we're called to be light, the light of the world, and we're supposed to be the salt of the earth, then it means we have to really think through how we define ourselves. And yeah, you could just say, well, it's just the grammar, and I'm not saying just worry about the verb you use, but let's all think about our identity. We are Christians. The name Christian means little Christ. We are little Christ. When we say we are Christians, we're little Christ. In other words, our ultimate identity is only with Him. We might vote certain ways, we might eat certain foods, we might like certain things, we might root for certain teams, but who are we? We are Christians. That defines not just who we believe in, who we put our trust in, but who we obey and who we serve. And I think if we Christians can do that and realize that we are Christians and we are not anything else, we might vote certain ways, do those other things. I think then we become the Christians that God is calling us to be in a world that really needs us to be Christians. The world has always needed the Christians to be Christians, and this is no different. And yet, I think at this time there's a particular need for us to be Christians, and all other identities just become things that we do. If we keep our identity only in Christ, who is the one that we follow, we serve, we obey, and we try to imitate. So I hope that was helpful for you. If it is, share it with friends, send it out, share, like, subscribe, all those things, whatever people do on the internet, on social media, and we'll see you next week in next week's Midweek Reflection. Have a great week.